everyone, and welcome to another video at my YouTube channel and blog. Today I'm going to be making some more cards based on this card I made a while back for vacation using the Simon Says Stamp Big Word stencil to stencil the word relax on the card with some black crackle paste. And then I put a map on the inside with a stamp on it that says Scenic Route. A friend of mine that has a shop in the Civic Center in downtown McKinney, Texas, saw this card and she just loved it and wanted me to make a McKinney themed vacation card. I mean, on the map on the inside she wanted a map of McKinney. So I hunted for some fun summertime paper and I found this piece in my stash, and so I cut it down to 4x6 I believe is the size, and I'm just taking some picked raspberry distressed ink and I'm going to squish it on my block and then add some white texture paste to it and mix it up, and I'm going to do the word relax on this fun pattern paper in a bright pink, and it just looks fabulous on there. I loved how it turned out. It turned out awesome. This was the first time that I have ever mixed color into texture paste. This is actually only about the third time I've ever used texture paste. So this is a new product for me and a new technique, and I am just loving the results. All my cards, I made 6 in total for her to try out in her store, and it turned out great on all 6 of the cards. It was just wonderful. Okay, just getting enough texture paste all mixed together. Had to add a little bit more color and a little bit more paste to get enough. Now I'm just going to speed this up and show you how I just did one of these and just lightly, push the paste into the stencil and scrape it over, get off all the excess. Did that 6 times, all good. So now moving on to my little banner sentiment. I cut this out of vellum out of the art booking Cricut cartridge from Close to My Heart, and I just sized it down to fit that vacation 1 mile stamp from the Long Way Home stamp set. It was the stamp of the month in June. But there's lots of great travel stamp sets out there. So I'm just going to use my powder bag and ink that up with Versamark ink, and I'm going to use some pink embossing powder that's just out of a Recollections multicolor pack that I had in my stash. It's a bright pink. It really matched well to the picked raspberry distress ink that I used in the texture paste on the front. So just pour it on and make sure you get all of the Versamark ink covered good. And then you just want to tap off all the excess. Okay, you want to heat up your tool really good before you take it to the vellum, and then it just takes very little time on the vellum to actually melt the powder. So here's all 6 of my little arrows all done, and so now I'm ready to put a backing layer on my front panel. And I tried a couple of different colors of blue. Unfortunately in my light you can't see that the darker one is really kind of a turquoise. I tried turning on and off my spotlight and I just wasn't getting a good color, but it is more of a kind of a turquoisey look, and so I thought that went really fun with all the summertime stuff on the paper. I wish you could see that better. But it did look really good. I did go with the turquoise versus the light blue. Okay, next I wanted to dry emboss the layering piece, and so I'm using this large scalloped folder from Close to My Heart, And the Close to My Heart folders are really big, so you can easily use them with these larger size cards. This is going to end up being a 5x7 card when folded, landscape. And here's what it looks like. So it just looks awesome, gives some texture. Thought it gave like maybe a water kind of texture, you know, kind of waves and ripples and whatever in the water. So I thought that just looked really fun behind this really cool summer piece. Okay, so I did think it needed a little bit of something, so I decided to take some Ripe Persimmon Distress ink and just ink around all the edges of my pattern paper. Okay, so next I'm going to cover the backs of my pattern paper with foam adhesive and apply that down to my scalloped turquoise base, and then I'm going to use some just narrow foam tape and put it right behind the stamp part of the flag and get that adhered down to the front as well. Okay, after I get all those adhered down, I'm going to move on to the enamel dots. I just showed you a quick picture back of the original card where I had some black and white enamel dots on the front. And so I picked out some yellow and some turquoise enamel dots, and now I'm bringing in some sequins, and I looked at a lot and just decided just to go with a few little gold sequins. So I did the visual triangle of 3 with the enamel dots, and now I'm going to do that with the gold sequins as well. And I'm just going to adhere down the gold sequins with my Ranger Multimedia Matte and get those all secured in. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the map. And see how I did the inside of the other card, but I wanted the arrow to point to the city of McKinney. So here was my dilemma, is to try and figure out how to do the stamp, because if you go off the edge and you got that little lip problem. So I decided to cut out a piece of orange to match the Ripe Persimmon that I inked around the edge of the map circle that I just punched out with a Recollections 3-inch circle punch. And then I used the same circle punch on my piece of orange. I also inked around the orange as well, which just gave it a little bit of a dark border. Can't really, you know, it doesn't really look like another color. It just gives it a little bit of definition around the edge. And so I'm just going to adhere, I punched the same 3-inch circle inside my orange piece. So now I'm just going to adhere this down to the inside of my card. And I think I went a little tape crazy. I added a lot of tape. Okay, I'm just going to put this in place. It just has a little bit of a border all the way around the edge. And then I'm going to put adhesive on the back side of my map circle. And I'm just going to piece it inside the circle. Okay, next I'm going to emboss that Scenic Route stamp across the orange into the map, so that the arrow on the end points to McKinney, and just using some black embossing powder, just brushing out any little stray little strands of powder. And now I'm just going to heat set that with my heat gun, or heat tool. I was in the printing industry for so long, and we used heat guns to melt shrink wrap and things like that, so I'm used to saying heat gun. So, but in the crafting world, it is a heating tool. Okay, the red side finishes up the card for today, and here's another look at the outside of the card, the inside of the card, and a close-up of the map. And also, don't forget those envelopes, decorate those envelopes. Thanks for watching, and I'll have all the information in the description below and a link to my blog post.